You are now listening to Artists at Work.
Artists at Work.
Artists at Work. Welcome back to another episode of Artists at Work. I am your host, 1AM.
Isaias.
And we are back with another episode from an artist named
El Kallpa.
El Kallpa. I need to get that right. El Kallpa.
The force. The force. That's what it is.
Okay.
But it's the in Quechua is the language of the Incas. Because
Yeah,
I'm from
we were
Peru.
looking that up.
I was interested. I looked that up. Yeah, that's one of the questions we have for you.
Yeah.
is about the language
Mhm.
and I guess a little bit about the history
Yeah,
because
of
it is
course.
pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
We're into different like historical, I guess you could say like some of the ancient things.
Yes, stay with your roots type of deal too. That's why
Yeah.
I brought it to my artist persona. It's like I want something from Peru that represents also my roots. Even when I do reggae or I do rap or I do whatever, but I want something from my background that represents me as well. So
Right.
I landed on El Kallpa back in
Kallpa.
2009.
Okay. So for the people who don't know who you are, go ahead and give a introduction of who you are, where you come from.
I am Gerardo, aka El Kallpa Olivares. I'm an immigrant from Peru. I came to the United States in the year 2000, and I traveled all over the United States, and I've been settled here in Monterey for about 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, 2012 I came over. Been making music since I landed here. I did a little bit of poetry and some songwriting back in Peru, but I came when I was 17, right after high school. I finished high school, and then my parents were like, let's chase the American dream. And we just left Peru. Yeah.
Wow.
We came over. I make music. I take my most pride on my lyrics and my poetry. I don't have a beautiful song as a singer, but a beautiful voice as a singer, but I have things to say. So I just bark into the mic.
Right. How would you, I guess, categorize your music, or how would you describe your music to someone who has never heard it before?
It's very difficult, I think, because I don't think anything is off limits.
Mhm.
So I don't want to coin this term, but it's music without limits. Música sin límites.
Okay.
Because I like so many genres. And when I was younger, I'm older now, I'm 40, I'm wise, or I care less, I could say. But about labels and stuff like that, I was very worried when I was younger, like, if I had a ska band, we like ska and punk, and we didn't like hip hop. Or if you like hip hop, you can't like rock. I was just like, you know what? I like everything.
It was like that back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're
Definitely.
I guess we're the millennial generation. So now it's like you can like anything. And you can musicians and artists can do the fusion, and they could go from genre to
It's
genre.
a lot more normal nowadays. Yeah, but I remember like back in the day in Miami, Latino, so I like my salsa, I like my cumbia, but I also had a ska band, like a ska punk band,
Yeah.
underground. So I had a orange mohawk. I think I was the first person with an orange mohawk in Miami dancing salsa at a club. They were like, this shit is out of place. This doesn't
Yeah.
belong here. People were giving me looks and like,
But it's
It felt
unique.
weird.
It's different.
it was back in the early 2000s. Now everybody dyes their hair.
Yeah.
When I did it, I remember me, as my family, we all did it, my brother, my sister, and me, going to the movies, and my mom looking at people and saying, why is everybody staring at us? Because she was used to us. But my brother had blue dreadlocks. I had an orange mohawk. My beard was orange. And my sister, her nickname was Skittles in high school because her hair was all colors. Back in 2001, 2002, that was just underground stuff. Like even school sometimes prohibited it. Now it's normal, but we're 20 years later,
Wow.
So when we were doing it, it was just weird. Yeah.
So you came from Peru straight to Miami
To
first?
Miami. Yeah, I have
Okay.
family there. A bunch of my dad's side of the family. He has two sisters there. Yeah, and we have a couple of it's a small community there. But they were like, "Oh, let's go over there. We'll give you jobs," and that's how we started our migrating process. We landed
Okay.
on my aunt's house, and we lived in her living room for like a year.
So where did your music, where did that start for you? Like just creating poetry, and then how did that evolve? Like where?
I think it was some time in high school. I have a hard time like recollecting the exact point,
Okay.
but I clearly remember writing some poems in high school, and like I didn't want to hide it. I wanted to show it.
Okay.
And I was very vocal. I liked bands like Molotov. I like that. And I was always going to the underground scene in Peru for like ska and punk music. A lot of revolution music, like fuck the system type of stuff. Can I curse? Is that okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
What was that like? Because that's a question I have, but you're talking about it right now. Is what was it like first making music in different parts of the world? And what is like the different scenes? And you just mentioned Peru. We've never been to Peru.
Yeah.
A lot of
your tia's going, right?
Yeah, my family. I have family, and my one of my tia's parents are from Peru.
Oh, nice.
And
right on.
they're gonna do a trip over there this December.
That's
and
awesome.
We're house sitting, but we haven't yet experienced. There's a lot of different places we haven't experienced yet. The music scene. So what can you tell us?
It's very different. Like when I was back there, and like I'm talking about 1994.
That I was born 94.
Yeah.
She's 95.
95.
I was gonna say you guys
so.
weren't born yet. Okay.
So tell us.
I'm the old guy here, like the gray beard shows. So I had this thing where in Peru it was very, like I said, section and labeled. So if you liked like 90s rock, like Nirvana, alternative, let's put alternative rock.
Okay.
Or the classic rock, you were cool. If you like salsa or cumbia, it's more like, you don't know much about music because this music is not real music. That was the mentality back in the 90s. It was kind of crazy. But this, I'm talking about the circles that I grew up in, right?
Okay.
And then I had a friend who always picked on me, and he was like, oh, you only like American stuff. You don't even understand what they're saying. And he was right. But I like the sounds of it. But then he started, you need to listen to music in your language. He was very so I started listening to Spanish rock. And then I could like play the guitar and sing a few songs, like music from Argentina, music from Colombia, music from Spain. We call it Spanish rock. It's a rock en español. Classic. Like everybody from South America knows what you mean when you say rock en español. From Mexico it was El Tri de Mexico. But it was all this, I won't say a copy, but a Latin American version of like alternative rock and classic rock from the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that. Different music. It because a lot of people, like our music influences other countries.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
Like it might not be this current, but they'll catch on to the music coming.
And then they'll add their season, right? The perfect example is like Los Rabanes in Panama. They were this like ska punk band, but they also played reggaeton back in like the early 2000s, 99, 2001, like, and people have forgotten this, like, they were playing ska mosh pit music, like a punk song that like fast for the mosh pit, but also they break it down and start doing reggaeton because El General is one of the first people that started reggaeton movement before it was called reggaeton.
Okay.
So it was a lot of mixes too. And for me, that was just music, right? It's alternative. We always try to label it. And then when somebody cross over, it's like, oh, that's just alternative. Like it was strange.
Okay.
It was strange. But there was the heavy influence of a style of rock music from the United States, bass, drums, guitar, a lead singer. But then, depending on where in the country they went, those countries influenced those sounds too.
Right.
Depending Colombia, Argentina, Peru, and different parts. So I was into all that scene when I was like between 12 and 14 years old. And then my friend is like, you know what, we need to go to concerts. Like, and we didn't have the money to go to those type of concerts when an international artist came. So we started going to the underground concerts of your next door neighbor that had a punk band. And that plus the poetry that I was writing, that's what started me into the first time I saw a mosh pit. I was like, this is lame. Like, why are people hitting each other? I don't like it. This is silly. Then I got in and I was like, oh my God, I love this.
The energy, right?
To me, it was therapy. After I went to a mosh pit, we didn't need to drink or do drugs. We went into a mosh pit, the release, the next day you slept like a baby, you felt relaxed. Like your week for school was perfect because Friday, Saturday, you went to a concert and you were partying your heart out, And I was like dipping my toes on both because I'm not a shy guy, and a lot of mosh pit punk music is like the rejects or people that don't go to parties. And I was doing both. I was going to parties some days, and some days I go to the mosh pit. So I was a social guy trying very different things. Just like, I don't know, I was always everywhere. I can't focus. My wife says is that the ADHD or the one of those?
So coming from these different places, and then now you're here, right? How does the music scene like kind of different? Like say, because what you like to do is kind of like a fusion of the different things, right?
Everything, yeah.
So how has that been, like that experience been coming from Peru to Miami and to now here, trying to navigate as an artist with that type of music that you have?
I still don't know.
Yeah, you're still figuring it out.
I just do it because I enjoy it, truly. And because one person tells me, oh, your lyrics here are cool. Oh, this sound here is cool. It's not like, I'm not, and maybe that's a mistake. That's a mistake in marketing, right? Because people say, oh, you should have your brand. You should label yourself this way. You should.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do it for fun.
Yeah.
I haven't, and I can't say that I haven't found my voice, but part of my voice, or part of my brand, is to be eclectic. Like, I can sing in a cumbia song and I'm fine with it, and it's a party song. Or it could be the last cumbia I wrote with my mom is all about giving, because she wanted to do lyrics about have gratitude. So I called the song Gratitud, and then we talked about thanks to the rain, thanks to the sun, thanks to everybody that, so it's a fun song. And then the next song I have is like, oh, if you're not nice to me, I'll rip your head off. So it's like I'm not one thing. I'm many things. It's hard to. I can't even label myself. I can't. And like I said, that might be a mistake in the marketing.
No. If anything, that's probably what like prompted me, because like for this podcast, it was mostly kind of just exclusive. I wanted to interview a lot of the people that I came across, but because like you applied and I checked out your music and I'm like, wow, this guy's certainly out the box. And obviously you could tell you're having fun with it just by like listening to a few of your songs. Like there was one song you had, I believe maybe with your son. Yeah. And we were like, wow. And then the next thing you were like watching a music video and you're like raw, like just rapping. So you're like reggae, you like different things, and it's really interesting. So that was just like one of the things I wanted to say that was really cool.
Thank you. And it's been an evolution, to be honest. I never planned it to be one way or another. I always try to throw weird things into the band. It's like if we have a violin in the band, I'll say, can you play your violin like a guitar? And they'll be like, well, what? Like, do something weird. Like do something that you're not supposed to do. Like I have a lot of artisan or like classic instruments from Peru, like a cajon, or this, I call it an Andean drum that is specific for one type of rhythm.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play that rhythm. So I'm playing rap on an Andean drum. So that's already weird.
Yeah.
So I'm using things that you're not supposed to. I'm just going with what I feel like.
Yeah.
And that's how that evolved. I guess from the first times I started performing with my first band, I like to surprise the audience. That was my biggest thing. It was like, okay, if we're getting here with a song and everybody's paying attention, let's pull everything out, silence. And then that made people go like, what? And their reactions like gave me so much joy to keep the audience engaged. Right. So I'm always trying to add these little things to like, hey, if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss something. That's kind of my attitude in art all around, like in your face. You can't get distracted. You can't tune me out because I'll surprise you,
That's good, because that's important for being a performer when you're on the stage, because you're the one that has to demand the crowd's attention.
Of course.
And being able to keep that is what all artists struggle with.
Yes.
So if your music's not so good and your performance is weak, you're going to lose the crowd.
Yeah, 100%.
Another observation, I like that you're from a different generation. Clearly, you're not old.
But it's okay.
But
I'm the new young.
But I like that you just have focused on the art and the music and the creative expression.
That's true.
And you haven't shifted your values based off trying to, let's say, make a career out of your music for profit.
Yeah.
So that hasn't clouded your artistic journey, right?
It's weird because I have a lot of friends that will tell me, or even family members that will tell me, oh, Bud Bunny shit because he doesn't know how to sing, because this. And I'm thinking, generationally, I should think like you. But I really appreciate how much, like, I don't know when I made this shift, though, because I used to be judgmental. I used to be like, oh, this music is good, this music is bad. Now I'm like, if the music is good, it's music. It doesn't matter what genre, what language, and I can't tell you when this started. I don't know. What I know now is like, I don't care if it's current or old, or if it's for young kids or for old people. If it grabs me, it's music. So I just go with it. And I'm not afraid of saying, oh, I like this Bad Bunny song, but I'm supposed to sing like, I don't know, like Rancid. Because my voice is like this. I was like, no, I'm gonna put auto-tune and I'm gonna try to sing like Bad Bunny. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know? That's my idea now.
What would be some advice on how to really get to the point where you're at, where it's like, who cares? Let's just experiment.
It's a few things. I think one for sure is age, because when you're younger and you're trying to determine who you are, you want to be a little stronger with your personality. Once you feel more comfortable with who you are, you don't need to judge other people, or you get tired too, man. Sometimes I'm too lazy to fight. It's like, all right, whatever. You don't like it, that's fine. It's just like, you know, it's a combination of things. But I've always had an open mind for like traveling. I always thought it was super enriching, meeting other cultures. And maybe now that I'm thinking of why I am the way I am, is migrating to Miami was a super eye-opening thing. And in Miami, you don't learn about the American culture. You learn about the South America and the islands and everything. I knew so little now that I look back about accents. I had no clue about every country has a different accent. The Colombians and the Nicaraguans. And I knew a little bit of Argentinian because in Peru, you get a little bit of influence from Argentina. And of course, from Mexico, you know, the Oye Way or like watching Chavo del Ocho and things like that. Those are popular in Peru.
Right.
But I had no clue about Colombians. I had no idea about the Chileans had such a different accent than ours, and there was so much beef that I didn't know. And then the islands, and I thought like anyone who spoke like a Cuban, oh, they're all Cuban, but there's Puerto Rican and Dominican Republic, and all of these little things that you learn is so subtle and so different. For Americans, they speak Spanish. That's it's all the same.
Latinos,
yeah. So Hispanic is and I think being in Miami was such an enriching, having girlfriends from different countries, and then their food is different, and their customs are a little different, and all of this was very enriching for me. Traveling and I mean, don't be. I don't know. It's hard because sometimes first impressions, you know, they mark you, but. Look at things with an open mind and don't think that you need to just fit in a box. It's like, I like a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah. No, I can definitely understand that, just traveling in general, because like even here in California, just traveling to a different part, whether 100%. You go north or south, like middle, we're all like, there's different like standards and different like
little subcultures.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
People behave this way. 100%.
So that's pretty interesting. I was curious too. I wanted to ask if you have ever been signed, because you said you worked with different bands. So always independent.
Always independent. Always an outcast of society. One time in Miami, with my first band that I had, a guy at a club approached us and he wanted us to do things a particular way. And I remember I was 19 maybe. And they say, okay, in this song, don't curse. And I was like, this song is when I say, motherfucker, you know, that's the part.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, can you just say something else? And I was like, no. I don't know if that was a big mistake or whatever. I remember the guitar player got really upset with me because he started the band and then he recruited me as a singer. And in the beginning, we were playing a lot of covers. And then 2 months into the band, and I was like, I can write my own lyrics. We don't need to sing other people's lyrics. And within 2 years, I wrote more than 30 songs.
Oh, wow.
Lyrics. And he took care of most of the music. Once I learned a little bit more about the music, I'll be like, oh, can you do this chord instead of this chord? Or in this part, can we go from reggae to... But all my crazy changes brought tension to the band because he would be like, you're not supposed to do that. That's clashing. And then I will give him an example. Like Sublime has this song, you know, Seed. I love Seed because it goes from reggae to trash punk. And it goes like, it goes so fast and then super chill reggae. And he said, oh, but that's Sublime. You can't do it. Sublime can. And I was like,
okay.
That's no.
So he's kind of stuck in the box.
Yeah, he was a little bit. I love him. I love you, Edgardo.
So how many bands have you been in? In
Miami, I did my first one. I was recruited for the way I looked, and I lied myself into getting recruited because the guy asked me, "Can you look like you listen to Spanish rock?" And I was like, "Yep." Because I was wearing like way more necklaces, and I just looked like a hippie dude. And he was like, oh, because I have a band. Can you play guitar? I was like, oh yeah, I play guitar really good, which is a lie. I still don't play guitar. 22 years later, I don't play guitar that good. I play okay guitar. But it turns out that the guy they were practicing at, the guy who had most of the equipment, he's Peruvian. So we clicked right away. I was missing Peru. I came to the States when I was 17. I was a little lost. I couldn't go to high school here because I had finished high school in Peru. My brother and my sister would go to school, and I was just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Very quickly, I learned like, oh, you're supposed to work under the table as an illegal immigrant and then work at a bussing tables or in the kitchen. And then I experienced that myself. And I was like, and then if you don't fix your immigration status, if you don't get papers, this is it. I was like, no, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So I started going to school, trying to learn English on my own, just paying to go to college. And every person that I knew that had papers, I told them I want to marry them. Every person. And I was very upfront with it. Like, I need papers or I want to go back to Peru. I can't. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Yeah, I learned that very quickly. And luckily, one person said yes, and I got married, and I got papers. Now I'm an American citizen, and that's in the back. But at one point, that was a driving freaking thing for me. And that was all throughout when I was doing the band. So a lot of my first songs are about immigrating and coming here and not knowing the language. Yeah, but that was my first band. I call it Pueblo Joven, which means young town. But in Peru, it has a specific meaning. When people of very, very low income try to take over a territory, they invade with sticks and just like cardboard and whatever, and they claim the place. They say, this belongs to us. And if the person who owns the territory doesn't have enough means to kick them out with the police or with brutal force or however, they stay there. And they stay there like, it's pretty crazy. Like they're doing this, what settlers did here in the 1700s, but 20 years ago, they still do it in some areas. But when they claim that territory, it starts becoming a place, and that they call it Pueblo Joven because it's not a town yet. It's the baby of a town. It's the beginning, so it's a young town. And I felt like that when I first came to the States. I wasn't established. I felt like I had nothing. I was just sleeping in my aunt's, living room every day, having to pull the mattress up and mattress down every day, doing this. And I was like, I feel like I'm invading this country with, a couple of cardboard boxes and sticks. So the name of the band is going to be Pueblo Joven. And that was the first band. We did that for 3 years, from 2000 to 2003. I always liked drums. And every time we took breaks, I would play drums. When that band kind of came to an end, for a few reasons, we had a few arguments, a few things, we parted ways, but we had invested like, I don't know, $200 or $300 in a recording device. So I was like, we pay for this from gigging with the band, so I want half of this thing. If you kick me out, okay, that's fine, but give me half of this. He was like, and we ended up in good terms. After the fighting, it was good terms. It was never too crazy. But then he was like, you like the drums? Why don't you take the drums as part of payment and I keep the recording device? And I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll take the drums. I always wanted to play drums, and this was a drum set that was coming to me. I was like, great. When I was about to finish that band, my younger brother in high school, he had met 2 or 3 people and they were starting their band. So I got kicked out of my main band that they aspired to be. And now all of a sudden I was just at loss without a band or nothing. And then my brother plays bass, and then this other friend played guitar. And I was like, I just got drums.
Yeah.
But I told him I didn't want to be the driving force of the band because it's a lot of responsibility. It's like coordinating and the logistics. But I guess that's, I don't know, you don't choose who you're going to be, right? You just are. So sometimes when you're kind of like the leader, then people look up to you to do it. So I remember they had like 2 or 3 tunes, and I was like, we either have to hire a singer or one of you needs to start saying something on the microphone. And I couldn't help myself. Within 6 months, I was singing from the drums. I bought me a little Britney Spears mic, I call it. So I got my Britney Spears mic, and I was drumming and singing from the drums. And I became the lead singer without even wanting to.
That's pretty cool.
That was my second band, and that one was called Scatones Massacre.
Okay.
Because we weren't just ska music. And my brother wanted something like that was punchier, so he came up with the part of Massacre. And the escaton came from reggaeton had just started taking a little bit of going back in 2004.
Okay.
And we hated it. Reggaeton is like, it's the music from grinding. This is all like bad lyrics. This is stupid. We're like, real music is like ska and punk and music with a message and it's deep in your heart. And so my friend, the guitar player, said, we're not reggaeton. We are escaton because we like ska. So that's how that word came about. It's kind of silly or whatever. So we're scatones, but we always say escatones massacre. And we recruited my sister. She plays saxophone. So she started playing saxophone and she had a friend that played trombone. And it was a weird setting because my brother is a lefty. So aesthetically, you have the guitar going this way, the bass going this way. I'm singing from the back, and I have my sister and the trombone player in the front. So you're listening to this weird screaming, scratching, barking voice. You don't know where it's coming from. And you have these two girls in the front just like killing it on saxophone and trombone. A lot of it out of tune, a lot of it very, very raw. But in that band, I never cared about hitting the right note. I had no idea any of that. I was just like saying things into a microphone.
You're freestyling.
So much fun. So much fun. And with that band, I did like 50 songs. This is band number 2.
Okay.
And I ruined that. My brother still tells me because I joined the military.
Oh, okay.
And I left. So they try to keep going, but without me pushing it, it wasn't happening. When I was in Escatones, I also drummed for another band, strictly punk band. I always try to influence and say, let's do a ska reggae song. Come on, I can play for the drums and sing a little bit. I was always trying to throw some rocks into the, to add a little bit of my seasoning to everything I did. Played with them for, it was 2 Peruvian brothers. They did really good. They did a couple of tours in Miami, and they were pretty recognized, but I helped them in the beginning. Then I got kicked out because I didn't show up to we had a TV interview, but on my job, I slide my thumb cutting like ham or something like that. So I couldn't drum. If I touched it, I started bleeding. I was like, I want to be on TV, dude, but I can't drum. I'm going to start bleeding all over the place. So if you were really hardcore, you would. Just do it. And I was like, sorry, guys.
Wow.
It's part of the act. Yeah. Blood spill on the drums.
Also, too, there was a little bit of, these guys I still love too, and they follow me too, but there was a little bit of conflict because when I was with Escatones, sometimes I'll double book Scatones and the other band, Faded Sound, and I'll play drums for both. So we play 1 hour with Faded Sound and 1 hour or hour and change with Scatones. And I remember we did a battle of the bands when I booked both of the bands and Scatones won. So there was a little bit of a feud between the 2 bands that I was part of. And they got a better drummer than me. I'm not a great drummer. So they did, after I got kicked out, they did better. So good for them.
So 3 bands or 4 bands total? That's
3. There's
more. Oh, there's more bands?
I'm sorry. Should I just make it short? Okay. I'm on band number 5. I want to say. Yeah, because I did jam with 2 bands when I first came here.
Okay.
But two times I played with band.
Okay.
2 times with the other one. But yeah, I'm on my 5th band, and this is the most successful, the most money I've ever made making music. And this is the current one is Sensory Tribe.
Okay. Sensory Tribe.
I have a question real quick.
Sure.
What advice can you give to different artists and musicians? Like in your experience working with different artists and collaborating in so many different bands or just meeting people, like what experience, what have you learned and what do you think, like good and bad,
Yeah. If you're very set on your sound and you want things, I want this to sound exactly like this, and you're set on that, don't try to collaborate because it's just going to clash. You need to be very, very understanding and able to bend a lot when you collaborate. And sometimes it's not personal. Sometimes collaborations don't work. But if you don't go in with an open mind, it's going to be more work and hustle for no reason. You shouldn't force it. Some songs are made to collaborate. If you have a very determined message for a song, don't open it up for collaboration. Just do it on your own. But if you have something that is still not finished and you want to give it a twist, or sometimes you have different versions of a song. I learned that too with writing. And then be responsive. It sucks when you're texting people that don't text you back, or if you send an email with a song and then silence is kind of a killer. So do your part, or at least say, oh, I got the tune. I'm sorry, I'm busy with something else, but I'm listening to it.
Communication is key.
Is key. It's just like any relationship, truly. Yeah. Open mind, being friendly, and it's not for some people. I've had people very straightforward tell me when I reach out and I'll say, hey man, I love the way you play violin. You want to collaborate? And they're like, I'm not a good collaborator. And it's all good. All right. I still admire your music. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad that we don't get to collaborate, but that's okay.
Some people might change their mind later down the line too. You never know. But I really respect that though. Cause it's pretty tough. I would say like, just being in a band, for example, or even just collaborating at all, you really got to be sure of what you want as the person, giving your song to collaborate, and be okay with that person's creative process as well.
That's right. A lot of that I still struggle with is if there's no ideas on the table and there's nothing, right? So I bring an idea and the person who takes the idea is like, this is cool, but it'll be better if. That hurts, right? Because there was no idea. You just brought an idea, but they think they can better your idea right away without like listening to the idea. So I'm learning more and more to just like, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, what do you got? Don't tell me that it's better than when I offer, because you had nothing to offer. So at least I brought up something, and let's see what we come up in the middle. And what I've learned too is when people say this is going to be the hook, and then the other person is like, oh, but I like this hook better. Hey, we got 3 minutes. How about we do one hook this way and the other one this way? And that is totally okay.
Yeah.
No one cares. Let's just get the song going.
Wow.
So that's been my attitude for a lot of things lately. Like we don't need to waste time on not doing it.
Right.
Let's spend time making it work.
So that's why it's really important to want to work with other artists, but also learning to communicate like how you've done. And I value that from you, because we don't hear a lot of that on how like, oh, I was trying to reach out to different artists, but I love that you're so open. And
that comes with also being okay with being rejected, and that's okay. And it could be that it's something from the type of music. I know rap and hip hop have a slightly different culture than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know any other way.
Yeah, for bands, you need other people.
Yeah, you need, and I'm just curious like that. And that's what my Instagram is for, is to spam people with my questions. Just being bold and being like, hey, I like how you play the flute. Would you like to play flute in a punk song? And people are like, what? No, that's weird. I was like, hear me out.
That's pretty cool.
Gotta be open-minded. I kind of want to switch it up a little bit, and I'm curious. I want to kind of ask you about like, how do you sustain yourself financially as an independent artist?
Ooh, this is
nobody likes to talk about this.
No, but I like that you asked, because I'm very curious. Like musicians, but people who are painters or graffiti artists or muralists or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to sell this persona that you're making it as an artist. And 85% of people have a second job at an office or at a retail store. So, and I never have problems with that, but I feel like somewhere, somehow in society, somebody is judging you and saying, oh, you're not a true artist then. If you're not sustaining yourself from music, then you're not a musician.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that I'm implying, but I have a 9-to-5 job. I work at an office.
From music, if you could talk about the music side.
Yeah, like it's one thing when you're a solo artist, right? Trying to get paid for gigs. But then when you got the band, you got other people to think about and to take that into account, their time and their sacrifice too. So how do you like navigate in getting your bandmates paid, getting you paid, and kind of that realm? Like how is that?
That's truly with experience. In the beginning, we played for free everywhere, but then we see, oh, this other band is getting paid, so we want to get paid.
Yeah.
So it starts with that. Then I kind of broke it down. I don't know how, to be honest. I just made this system in my brain that it's been my standard, and I know it's cheap. That's what I know. But I said it's $100 per musician per hour. That's what I go of my base rate. Now, if it's a nonprofit event, it's a community event, I'm not going to be crazy about, I need to make this much money. Sometimes we play for free still, because we make music not to be rich.
Right.
We just want to be fair too. And I'm totally okay not getting paid if you're not getting paid and we're doing it for fun. What I have problems with is when one person is making money and the other one isn't. I'm a very fair guy in that aspect. Also, I appreciate if you're booking the venue and you're working more than me, you deserve more than me because you work more than me. It's just, I make it that simple to myself. So in the band, we established this rule where if you book the gig, you take 20% of the booking. That helps if the venue pays you with a check or they want you to fill out a 1099. You can use that 20% for your extra work, to pay for your taxes, however you want to use it. From that, if you're also a musician, you get paid as a musician. So there's 8 people in my band. If I sell a gig for $1,000, I'm doing all the logistics and everything. I'm getting $200 for booking.
Okay.
And then out of the $800 that are left, I'm one of the musicians, so I get $100. And that's open to everybody. It's not restricted to only you can book. Anyone can book. You're a saxophone player. Even if you're not part of the band, but you want to help with the booking, you make $200. I just made this crazy rule to entice people to book more.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
It still doesn't work great, but I think that's the fairest price right now. So when people tell me I only have $300 in my budget, I was like, okay, how about a duet? You want 2 people? Oh no, I want the 8 people band. Then you need to pay the 8 people band fee.
Yeah, it's for time. It's all, everyone's giving up their time.
We're only thinking of that hour that you're performing that day. We practice every week.
Right.
We're bringing new music all the time. All of this practice time, you're not paying me for an hour. You're paying me for 6 years of composing music, writing lyrics, off time. All of this time that goes into a song to sound good is not 1 hour at the bar.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
That's
it's
true.
an investment.
Nobody sees all the work that goes into it.
No.
I get that. I get that a lot.
And I know that's not cheap because I know certain companies in Monterey, let's say they work with artists.
Yeah.
And they're what is that called? I'm missing the...
Booking agent. I'm pretty sure that's
Booking
like
agent.
a booking agent.
Yeah.
So they sell your show for $3,000 and they give you $1,000. It happens.
Yeah.
And even when some big companies are more comfortable going through a booking agent and giving them more money because sometimes it's because they have insurance per se, right?
Yeah.
And certain places you need insurance to play inside. Like in the aquarium is a place, an example. I once lost a gig to play there for a couple of $1,000 just because I didn't have this. They want $1 million liability insurance, which costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you go through a booking agency, they already have that.
Okay.
But sometimes they're fair and they're like, take 20% off for booking, which I think is pretty regular. Between 10 and 20 is kind of fair. But sometimes it's, I've seen things that I'm like, oh, that's so unfair. It's just like this person and sometimes they don't even work for it. They just share your number, right? It's like, okay, this venue is going to talk to you. Here's my 20%. I didn't do anything else. I didn't worry about PA system. I didn't worry about microphones. I didn't worry about nothing.
Yeah.
And I want this money. So I think that's super unfair. That's why I open it for the band and say the band, we are our best booking agents because we know what we need. And we know we're going to be fair with the math is math. You don't need to, nothing needs to be shady there.
Yeah.
Like I say, if no one's making money, I'm fine. If the DJ say, oh, I need a band and it's all like for charity, I'm good. But if I see that the DJ is walking out of that with $5,000 for him, that's wrong.
Okay.
That's where I'm like, no, not doing business with this person anymore. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good though. No, because I mean, it does suck when the venues, like every artist wants to perform. So of course they're going to say yes. But when it's a free gig and you like the venues have the power, you know what I mean? And the owner or the manager for that night.
Yeah.
But when you can get paid for entertaining, because people come to see
you, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes the night smooth. They get drinks. So the venue's already making money.
The venue's making more money because of you, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, when the artist can can like say what they're worth and get paid. That's a good thing.
And I've been, like I said, many places where I just go and play because I want to play. I'm an artist. I want to show my art. But then there is that fine line of it. Are people taking advantage of you at this point? Or when they tell me they don't have a budget for my band, but they have budget for another band. It's like, why? Why is this band getting paid and not my band? Or why are you paying these people this much and me this much? Like those things are the ones that don't sit very well with me.
So you got to be aware of like that. There's a lot of weirdness that goes on because I've played in gigs where they have it where the local people, like at the top of the list of the flyer, they get paid versus us openers. We're just there. Our payment is the exposure.
Right,
so it's been like
exposure bucks.
Yeah,
that's
it's kind of interesting how they do that sometimes.
And like I say, I've been in this for a while, so I know. Like, I'm not pretending to just jump on a stage with my new project called Bar Kings and get paid. That's fine. I can start from the bottom. But once I offer you and I give you a taste of how this is gonna sound and how people are gonna like it, you got a little taste. You get 2 songs. If you want Bar Kings to do an hour show, you need to pay for an hour show. You know? And this is very difficult because a lot of artists, and I don't know where this comes from, are very secretive about that. And I don't like the shading of it. Like, but I also, sometimes people look at me like I'm a weirdo when I ask them, hey, how much you got paid for that gig? They're like, oh, you're not supposed to talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's, some people are very, and that's the shady part that I don't like. I tell people straight up, and they ask me, but how you ask for that? Well, I say $100 per musician per hour. Just break it down.
Yeah.
You know how many hours we practice for this song? If you have to explain it. You don't need to be rude about it.
Yeah.
Or just explain it in a term that they will understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying you only have $50 to pay me. So you expect me to drive from Monterey to Salinas. That's 40 minutes. Then I'm going to play for an hour. And then I want to go back to Monterey. So you're paying me less than minimum wage for my time. From we're not even counting the music right now. We're just counting my time.
Yeah.
The driving time, my gas, the performance, you getting your venue filled, and then I'm driving back, loading, unloading, bringing my equipment, and I'm making $12 an hour. Let's just, be reasonable here.
Yeah.
So,
that's an important way to think about it because especially like the new coming artists, right? They're afraid to even ask to get paid to play, But there's a lot of different things to think about: your gas, your time, your practice. What would be some advice that you would give to people that want to get paid or that want to try to, I guess, push so that they're not just always doing it for free? How would you...
You could be nice about it. It doesn't need to be a crazy conversation. Just ask them, okay, what's your budget? That's my first question. I've learned that. And if you're starting and you want to get out there, just open for people and do a little bit. And be like, you like this? And if people reach back to you, then just give them a little taste. It's like selling drugs. Just give them a little taste.
That's true.
And if they really like it, they need to pay for it. It's only fair.
Yeah.
We're not asking for something. And I know the numbers that I'm giving you are low. They're low. I know when people come out of town and some people have different prices and stuff like that. And I've talked to I don't know if you guys have heard of Sambada. It's a big band in Santa Cruz. They play Brazilian music.
Okay.
And I asked the guy straight up, how much you charge, man? Like, I aspire to be like you. You've been making music in the peninsula for 20 years and you're sustainable, I didn't ask him about his 9 to 5 or anything, but I know his band is successful.
Yeah.
And he told me, he didn't give me specific numbers. I said, just ask for the most you think you can ask depending on the venue and then work yourself from there. He's like, he's like a little older than me. He's like, at the end, I want to play music. He wants to be a musician too.
Yeah.
But it's just unfair that why is there that stupid standard about, oh, these people get paid this much, but these people, that's crazy.
Yeah.
If they're filling your venue or you're selling your beer or whatever, hey, it's all about the numbers. That's why I love how Pearl Hour works. Because Pearl Hour, you get paid for however many people walk in. And it's on their tab.
Wow.
So if people come in to see you, they're paying $5 to see you with their credit card.
Yeah.
On top of all the drinks they get. And that money goes to the artist. So I think that's a great way to do it. I think they're super smart. I wish more venues around here, Salinas, would do that. Because then if there's 3 people that show up to see you, you get $15 and that's fair.
Yeah.
But if you fill the place up, and you get 100 people there.
There you go.
You made your coin.
That's making me start to think about how because we have some shows coming up.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, maybe we should be involved in in that business side of it.
I feel like what the venues, I have this inner monologue in my head, all imaginary, but it's like, oh, we're bringing this reggae band from San Diego. Oh, let's find a local band to play. Oh, okay. All right. How much should we pay the local band? We don't pay them. They want to play. Like, we give them a couple of beers and they're done. Really? This is what I think they're saying about us. And it's just so, icky. It hurts. Because they know they're paying other people.
Right.
And then they know they're not going to pay you just because you're upcoming. It's a dirty, dirty world.
Yeah. Anytime money's involved, people get weird.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a fine line where you got to try to find the balance of having fun, but also making sure you're not going hungry at night.
also, too, you don't want to ruin it for the next artist, right? Because it's the same thing happens. I do a little bit of photography. If everybody's undercutting everybody, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want a photography session. Okay, it's $50. It's a nice price. $50 for an hour of my time. Oh, but this guy said 20. So but he's gonna take pictures with his phone. It's like whatever, It's like, what are we doing here? And then everybody's undercutting everybody. At the end, who wins? The businesses.
Yeah. Sometimes I think reputation is really big. We haven't mentioned that, but that's why bands in Santa Cruz with 20 years experience can obviously charge what they want,
of course,
versus someone with like maybe 6 years but you have more too. You probably have close.
But that's fine. My beef is when there is money and they're trying to underpay you. If, like I say, if no one's making money and this is all charity, I'm all good. When I see something weird, like, oh, they're charging at the door and there is a percentage that you got for your whole band, you got $60, but then the closer is getting this much money. I'm like, hold on one second, but they're using my drum set. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
They're not paying for the equipment, for your time, because sometimes when you're like the opener, but it's somebody who comes from out of town, they're gonna use all of your equipment. So your speakers for your guitar, your bass, your drum set, they're being held hostage until the show is over. So you're there from 6 to 1 a.m.
Wow.
And you're walking out of there with $60. The other guy shows up at 11, uses your equipment, and he walks out with $3,000. It's like, oh, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Something doesn't add up here,
That's definitely something.
I'm not saying that's always what happens, but that shit happens. And it's just sad,
Just because they're the closer, they're the headliner.
Yeah. So openers are important.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and we should demand, like, at least, don't be scared. For other artists out there, don't be scared to ask those questions if someone invites you to perform.
Yeah.
Try to get on the business side, because ultimately, it's your time. You might have to ask for a day off. There's a lot of artists we know that if their shows, we all have to have that time off.
You gotta request time off. That's time out of your day that you could be working a for sure, like, paycheck.
Yeah.
Just to come out and, so that's pretty important. But thank you for disclosing that.
Yeah, of course. It's just just be like I say, it doesn't need to be a fight. Just ask them, what's the budget? How much are you getting paid? And if they tell you, I've been doing this for 10 years, I'm getting paid $500, and I pay you $50. If they're upfront with it and you're okay with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with the shadiness of it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're getting paid? What do you mean? What do I mean? When they hand you the money, that's what I mean. Those parts are they don't sit well with me.
I agree. I want to ask you, what is some important advice or information that you could give to other artists? It doesn't matter what genre or whatever, just something that you've learned in your experience over the years that is important to know being an independent artist.
As a musician, asking questions is not a bad thing. If you see that the venue or the promoter is being shady about stuff, if you're dying to go there for the exposure, do it, but do it knowing that there's something shady going on. If they're straightforward and they tell you, hey, you've been doing this for a year, you're getting paid this much, and they're been doing this for 20 years, they're getting paid this much, that's fine. I just want to know. The shadiness is the part that I don't like. Ask questions about equipment. So I always tell people, okay, my band is $1,000 an hour. And I rarely get paid that. Just letting you know. That's what I asked for. Okay.
$1,000 an hour?
$1,000 an hour for the band.
Okay.
I rarely get paid that. Very, very, very few times. But just tell them, and this will open the conversation. You ask them, okay, no, I only have $600. Okay, do you have a PA system? Do you have 7 microphones? Do you have a drum set? You make him think about all the things you're bringing to the table, even if it's just, okay, so how far are you from this place? How many people are you expecting to come? What is your how many people do usually go there on Thursday night? Oh, about 30. Okay, if I bring 30 more, how much can you pay me of that? Because your sales are going to go up. Just open the conversation and just try to make them see the numbers. In the beginning, if you're a starting artist, you're going to do a lot of exposure things. You don't have to do that forever. Just know that in the beginning, sometimes you have to do those. I recommend you give a little taste only. Don't do an hour of opener for free. Or you could if you want to. It's all up to you. But it's kind of strange to me to do that. I've played plenty of shows for free because I want to play.
Yeah.
I want to share my music. I want to express myself. It's still never going to be perfect. The best you can do is just ask the questions. What's your budget? What equipment do you have? Who's the closer? How many people are you expecting? Stuff like that. And there's different venues have different budgets, and I understand that. That's why I have my broken down system of, we want a big band, big sound, all the PA included, everything is this much. Oh, you only have $300? Okay, I can do a duet for you with a backtrack. Different prices for everybody gets the product. It's just slightly different. It's just like if you're buying a $30 microphone or a $3,000 microphone. It's just the same thing. And they know it. They know they're a business. They know this.
Yeah.
Sometimes they try to leave it in the gray or, not being clear. It's like politicians. That's why I hate that, because nothing is clear.
Wow, that's really cool. You're one of the first artists to break it down with like a systematic approach to pricing, and also because we asked you like, how do you sustain yourself? And you need to get paid. If you hadn't gotten paid like this whole time, and you've been an artist for this long, that would hurt. Like,
oh yeah.
But that's really good because you just told us there is a system. And then also like this,
I made up the system, by the way. I don't know if
the
industry does, but it kind of works for me.
For you,
I think it's important because she started this to basically highlight artists to give other artists insights into how to make it work being an artist.
Right.
You learned how to build yourself as an artist because you need to keep it going somehow. So money obviously needs to be in the mix.
We're coming close now to our ending, but I wanted to ask, what do you have coming up, and where can people find your music?
Barkings coming up. We're on Instagram as @Barkings831. I hope I gave that handle correctly. I'm El Kallpa, so it's @El Kallpa, ELKALLPA. I post everything coming up there. On Friday, I released a brand new video. People can watch it. It's called Alléluin. It's a collaboration I did with a 14-year-old trumpet player and producer from France.
Oh, wow.
He sent me the track. I barked all over the track, sent it back. He sent it back. We discussed, and I did the video with help of my friends locally, helping me with the video. I edited the video myself, and I released it on Friday. So people are liking it. The song is cool. The video has a lot of graphics. Shout out to people in Santa Cruz who were at a party that I was able to record as my B-roll.
Nice.
Is the Afrobeats in Santa Cruz and DJ Monk Earl. Thank you so much for letting me do my B-roll.
Shout out DJ Monk Earl.
Shout out. I'm doing first time Monterey with my big band, Sensory Tribe.
That's new on New Year's.
On
right?
New Year's
Okay.
Eve. Yeah. So December 31st at 8 p.m. on Alvarado Street.
Okay.
We're going to be setting up. There's another band before us, and it's just a party. I think they bring the samba dancers and they're like drumming. It's just a lot of fun. All my stuff I post mostly on Instagram, but I have a YouTube channel, Facebook. Everything is under El Kallpa. That's EL space KALLPA.
Okay. Yes, and all that information will be in the description, so make sure you guys check that out, read the bio. Any last thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
We need to make a song together.
Of course.
You need to invite me into the studio and give me directions, and I'll bark my way and I can always give a little bit of suggestions with the sounds here or adding a weird instrument, and and thank you so much for having me here. I know I'm this psycho who's terrorizing Instagram. Sorry. With I want to talk to people. I want to socialize. I want to share my music. I want to share this. I just think that we put so much effort on making this stuff that then being too shy with it is just not,
Yeah.
Sometimes you're self-conscious about, what do I want to spam people with? Here's my sticker. Here's my music. Listen to my music. Listen to my music. But if you don't advocate for yourself, no one will. So
Facts. That's true.
all I got. Thank you so much, guys. I had so much fun. I could talk for another hour, maybe another episode.
Maybe, yeah. We'll do a recap, but thank you guys again for listening to Artists at Work podcast. You have been listening to El Kallpa.
That's right.
I said it right. All right. So make sure you guys tune in to his YouTube and check out his videos. And I'll be leaving the links in the description below. If you guys want to support this channel, please rate us at 5 stars. Please share this with your friends. Share it with your artist friends as well. And I'm your host, 1AM.
Isaias, thank you for joining us. Thank you, El Kallpa. Appreciate
you. Thank you, El Kallpa. Bye.
Yeah. Peace.